Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of AB in the Films. You know, with the movie Yesterday coming out in June, and yes, we will be talking about that on the show. First of all, I'm sorry it's been 5 months since I've done an episode. This is the first episode I've done since the New Year's one, I believe. Yeah, that long. I've been very busy, guys. Anyway, with the new movie Yesterday coming out, and with the Beatles breaking up nearly 50 years ago, wow. I mean, think about it, guys. They were recording stuff for Abbey Road right around this time. Let It Be Abbey Road right around here, 50 years ago. Anyway, with Yesterday coming out, I started to think about the Beatles, and I started watching all their movies again, and I have a lot of their movies right there, and I have one in the VHS section. And I watched them, and, you know, I haven't seen them in a long time, but I watched them all the time when I was a kid, when I was a Beatle fan, you know, age 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you know, when I first really got into this band. And I watched these movies again, and all the childhood memories came back watching them. But I wanted to talk about them because, you know, they are, you know, even if you're not a Beatles fan, they are something to talk about. And in the 8 years I've been doing this show, I've never really talked about these movies. And I've grown up with them, you know. So, let's talk about them. Now, when I say Beatle movies, I'm not talking about this one. And I am sure as hell not going to talk about that one. That doesn't even count. I don't care if it has Beatles songs in it. No. We're going to talk about the movies that the Beatles participated in.
Hey, mister, can we have our ball back? Back, mister! Jump on! Mister! Keep going! We have our ball back! Hey, mister! Oh.
We'll start with 1964's A Hard Day's Night. You know, this was a movie that I really didn't watch a whole lot. I remember watching Help more than I watched Hard Day's Night. I watched it again recently. I have it on video cassette. Watching it as an adult, because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, a lot of it really is funnier than I remember it to be. There's a lot of funny moments in this. The one scene, of course, that I remember, that I think a lot of people remember, is the scene when they're on the train. Like, the first, I think, 10, 15 minutes of the movie is them on the train, and they play I Should Have Known Better while they're playing cards. I think that's the one thing everyone remembers. And also the opening credit sequence of them running from all the girls. It's really just I like to call it like a documentary-esque kind of thing. You know, it's interesting. I was watching Richard Lester talk about this, the director of A Hard Day's Night, and the director of Help, too. And he was saying that when he was assigned this project to do a movie about the Beatles, again, they didn't know what the movie was going to be about. It was just a movie starring the Beatles. And when it was all done, he showed it to all the studio heads, and they screened it at a party or something before anybody saw it. It was the first screening of it. They were at a party, and they screened it after the party was over, and they watched it, and it was eerily quiet, because nobody had ever done a movie like this or seen a movie like this at the time, and nobody knew what to make of it. They just said, well, it's not what I expect, but I'm pretty sure we'll make money. So there you go. That was the reaction of everybody in the room. Watching it again, it's really good. It's actually really, really good. There's a lot of jokes about it that I think are kind of funny.
Help me! Headphones! Help me! Help! Hey, where's John? In the bath. All right, then, let's have you. Come on, John, stop larking about. John, John! John! What are you messing around with that boat for? There's a car waiting. Come on.
Also, the scene when they're being asked a ton of questions.
Tell me, how did you find America?
Sail left to Greenland.
Are you a mod or a rocker?
No, I'm a mocker. No, actually, we're just good friends.
What would you call that hairstyle you're wearing?
Arthur. No, actually, we're just good friends.
What do you call that collar?
A collar.
Oh,
Do you often see your father? No, actually, we're just good friends.
It's a really good movie, and of course you have the songs. You know, you have If I Fell, I'm Happy Just to Dance with You, Can't Buy Me Love. We know all these songs, you know. If you're a Beatles fan, you know these songs. So Hard Day's Night, really, really like. Then we go to the next Beatle film, which was Help, from 1965.
She's not wearing the sacrificial ring.
Where is the ring? Shut up!
I need somebody help, not just anybody help. You know I need someone help.
This is the famous Beatles.
When I was younger, so much younger than today.
We need protection. Get me protection.
This was the first Beatle movie I ever saw, and I remember watching this one a lot as a kid. And there's a lot of British humor in it that I just didn't get. I was just happy to watch a movie with the Beatles and hear the songs. But here's the thing. I had a friend in grade school who was a fan of them as well. And we both really liked the Beatles. We were really into the Beatles in, this was like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. Even 7th and 8th grade too. And, you know, he was really into the war, into World War II, World War I. He was really into like facts about it, about tanks and, you know, artillery and all that stuff. But he's a very smart guy. But when we would watch the movie, he would point out bits like especially during the scene where when they're playing I Need You and The Night Before, and they're running and they got all the tanks and everything in the field. There's a lot of little bits in there that he picked up on that I didn't even know, and he would point that out to me. I remember when I was a kid. As a storyline, I think it's good. You know, the boys are running away from these religious people who are, I guess the religion is whoever wears the ring, if they're wearing red, they get sacrificed. And Ringo, of course, Ringo's got it. You know, let's give it to Ringo. And it's basically just them trying to get away. It's like a cat and mouse movie, but it's good. You know, it's good. It's funny. One scene I remember I thought was funny is when the hose was coming through the painting and Paul treats it like a telephone.
It's only a hose. It's for you. Who is it? The gardener.
It's for the Beatle fans. All these movies are for the Beatle fans, really. And then we cut to the third film. I'm not going to talk about How I Won the War, even though Richard Lester directed that one too, because John Lennon was in that one, but it doesn't really, it's not a Beatle movie. I mean, John Lennon was still doing the Beatles at the time, but I don't think that one, I don't count that one. The next one is Magical Mystery Tour. And this one I didn't see. You know, it's funny. I became a Beatles fan. I'm not going to go into the whole history of how I became a Beatles fan. Watch this old video that I posted. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called The Beatles from My Perception video. I uploaded it like years ago, but it's on my YouTube channel. If you want to hear about how I became a fan and all that, I talk about it there. But you know, when I had the Beatles anthology documentary, and they would, you know, in that documentary, they would talk about when they made Magical Mystery Tour, and I never saw the movie, but I had the album, so I knew all the songs. By this point, Sgt. Pepper had already been out, and they were doing Magical Mystery Tour, which was the next album, pretty much, or really the soundtrack for the movie, really. And it was very, I don't want to say weird because I don't mind the Beatles stuff being weird. You know, that comes with the territory, really, with especially the later years. But I didn't mind it. But, you know, I never really saw the movie until I was about maybe 15 years old. So you got to remember, I went like 5-6 years listening to the album without seeing the movie. So finally when I sat down and saw it, I'm the biggest Beatle fan you'll ever meet, guys. I was falling asleep. I was falling asleep during that movie. The only times when I would really get upbeat and energized when watching it was when the songs came on. You know, like Magical Mystery Tour, Fool on the Hill, Flying, Blue Jay Way, Your Mother Should Know, I Am the Walrus. I mean, that's the best song on the album, I Am the Walrus.
I am the Eggman. They are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus.
But the film itself, you know, I think I went into watching it thinking it was going to be like something like Help or A Hard Day's Night, and it's not. It's a very artsy kind of film. It's not a narrative structured film, you know. It's not like that. So it caught me off guard on that, and I was kind of falling asleep. I feel like if I watched it again, because I don't have Magical Mystery Tour, I don't. But if I watched it again, maybe I would get a little more into it. I don't know. I haven't seen it in 11 years. I saw it once and I fell asleep. So, you know, still love the songs.
Look at John, will ya?
What's the matter, John, love? Blue meanies?
Newer and bluer meanies have been sighted within the vicinity of this theatre. There's only one way to go out.
How's that?
Singing!
1, 2, 3, ha!
We all live in a yellow submarine.
The Yellow Submarine.
Yellow submarine. We picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees.
This one I watched quite a bit when I was a kid, too. I want to say I watched Help more as a kid, but Yellow Submarine came pretty close. I watched this one quite a bit when I was a kid. This was another one that my friend, you know, talking about the friend I had, you know, we would watch Yellow Submarine a lot, too, whenever we would think about the Beatles. The animation, I think, is wonderful. I mean, it's outstanding. It's very psychedelic and stuff. You can tell it was 60s. 68, I think this movie came in. 1968? Yeah, somewhere around there. Like late 68, I think. I think the White Album was being made at this time. And, yeah, I really like the story with this one. This one, it's the easiest story ever. The Blue Meanies are invading Pepperland. They're ruining it. And the Beatles have to come in and save Pepperland from the Blue Meanies by singing Beatles songs. That's the movie. It's very, very simple explanation. And they have a wide variety of songs, and there were new songs in that too. Like, you know, I like to say that the Yellow Submarine soundtrack, not the redone one from '99, which I do have, but I'm talking about the original one that was released in January of '69, that has the 4 new songs on it. Only a Northern Song, All Together Now, Hey Bulldog, and It's All Too Much, along with Yellow Submarine and All You Need Is Love, which were already released at that time. And also all of George Martin's orchestrations from the film. You know, that album. That's what I'm talking about. That, I consider that a Beatles studio album because those 4 songs were new. They were not released at the time, so they were new songs. So that counts, you know, as a Beatle record. Because everybody always says, you know, oh, you know, White Album, then Let It Be, then Abbey Road. No. It's White Album, then the Yellow Submarine soundtrack, Let It Be, Abbey Road. Yes, I say Let It Be before Abbey Road. I don't care if Let It Be came out after Abbey Road. They recorded Let It Be before they recorded Abbey Road. Okay, so it counts. But we're talking about the films here, not the albums. Yellow Submarine. Really like it. Really think it's It does have funny moments in it. The song sequence is really good too. You know, every time in a Beatle movie, every time a song sequence comes on, it's done well. Even in a Beatles cartoon, you know, Yellow Submarine, it's really, really good. Yeah, Yellow Submarine, great movie.
The Beatles, rehearsing, recording, rapping, relaxing, philosophizing, creating. The Beatles, live in a new... The Beatles, Let It Be, 10 new songs. An intimate experience with the Beatles. A new motion picture. Let It Be.
God, this movie was made 50 years ago, if you think about it, because they were recording at Twickenham in January of '69, so it's May of 19 right now. So yeah, that was about 50 years ago. What do I think of Let It Be? Well, you know, I finally found a DVD of it. I don't know why Let It Be hasn't been updated to... I don't think there's a Blu-ray release of it, but I don't even think there's a proper DVD release of it. Because here, I'll show you. I have the movies right here. I have them right here. Here they are. And I just found Let It Be on Amazon, and it's a very... It almost looks like a bootleg copy. You know, like, you know, there's a lot of film tears in it. I mean, you can see it. It's clear. I'm not saying it looks like VHS recording or anything, but it's, you know, it's good. I just wish that they would remaster it, because I know that it would look a lot better if they remastered it, and they haven't. I don't know why. You know, I think Beatle fans would want that. Especially now. Hey, especially next year. You know, I mean, the film came out in 1970. Why not do it next year? You know, you could. But what do I think of Let It Be, the movie? It's good. It's good. It's the Beatles, there is no story, really. It's the Beatles rehearsing, jamming, making up stuff, and then the rooftop concert at the end, pretty much. You could sense there's a little bit of tension between them. You see them working out songs from Let It Be, which is I've Got a Feeling, Long and Winding Road, the song Let It Be, Two of Us. They even do a couple songs from that are going to end up on Abbey Road. They actually do Maxwell Silver Hammer in there, which is interesting. And I think they might do a little bit of Oh Darling. So yeah, so those songs ended up being on Abbey Road, you know, but they're in the movie Let It Be. I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. I mean, that rooftop concert, you know, it's very special, the rooftop concert, because that was the last time the Beatles ever played in front of an audience. That was the last time. Didn't plan on it being the last time. It just ended up being the last time. They never played in front of an audience ever again, you know. But I do like the fact that they're on the roof and the police are walking around, and, you know. And if you watch the Beatles anthology documentary, which I do have that too. I have that on DVD. You know, it really is a shame, because what they wanted, because, you know, when they were on the roof doing these songs, you know, someone called the police in the area, and they were trying to get up to the roof, and they finally get up there, and when they're playing Get Back, you know, you can see John and Paul turning around, and they're like, what's the problem? And they're like, oh, the police, you know, you gotta stop playing. And they didn't stop playing, and they wanted the cops to, like, drag them off stage, and they thought, oh, that's a great ending, you know, the Beatles get busted on the roof, you know, but that never happened. They just said, you gotta turn the sound down, you know, as they say in the Beatles anthology, you know, but that would have been an interesting ending. But of course, the ending that we all know is when John famously says,
I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group and ourselves, and I hope we pass the audition.
So those are my thoughts on the Beatle films. and I can't wait to see Yesterday. I hope it's going to be a better Beatle song movie than Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with the Bee Gees and Across the Universe, because that movie was, oh boy, was that bad, folks. That was bad. Love the Bee Gees, did not like that movie. Love the Beatles. Love the Beatle movies. I will see you guys in the next review. Later.